Hello, so today's presentation is titled Geocentrism versus Heliocentrism. We will be covering the geocentric models of the universe and the heliocentric models of the universe. Presentation. All right, it's over. First, we must develop or go into the four sciences. We have regular science, which is the study and testing of natural behaviors and the examination of how everything functions. A non-science, which is something that isn't testable due to being based off of an opinionated subject matter. A proto-science, which is something of a scientific nature but isn't falsifiable due to human limitations. And lastly, pseudoscience, which is information that has already been proven wrong but may still be pushed out as actual science. There are some examples there. In order to be labeled as science, you must meet 6 categories, which falls under the neat acronym NOTICE: natural, observed, testable, sorry about that, tentative, uncertain, and social. Naturally, is it a naturally occurring cause? Can you witness it? Can you conduct testing? Can results change? Are you never declaring an idea absolutely right? And publishing information so peers can review and discuss. So the geocentric, well, give me a moment. The geocentric model has the Earth at the center of the universe. All planets and the sun rotate around Earth or orbit Earth. All orbits are perfect circles. Celestial sphere rotates, and planets and the sun all have the same orbit speed. In the heliocentric model, the sun is the center of the universe. The Earth and the rest of the planets orbit around the sun. All orbits are perfect circles. It's the one thing that they have in common. The celestial sphere is stationary while Earth spins, and the closer a planet is to the sun. And in this model, the closer the planet is to the sun, the faster its orbit is. So the creator, just ignore that recording in the bottom right. The creator of the geocentric model was Ptolemy, nicknamed the Great Astronomer. Lived from 100 AD to 170 AD. Credited for making the most accurate geocentric model, which helped predict the locations of planets through any given date and time. It was accurate for about 1,300 years, after which it was losing its accuracy. He wrote the Almagest, which is a well-known astronomy textbook, which maintained all the details of the model. And his main beef was with Aristarchus's heliocentric model, which was the astronomer of the time pushing Earth isn't the center of the universe. And one thing his model couldn't explain was this retrograde motion presented in the top right. I believe that is Mars doing a little zigzag. And the only way that he can explain that was through epicycles, which on the image on the bottom right demonstrates Earth in the center of the universe. You have a planet, let's just call that Mars. And that little circle going around Mars would be the epicycle. That would be its orbit. And the center of the epicycle would orbit around a deferent, which would be the orbit around Earth. And that will replicate that motion. And as stated before, his model did lose accuracy. And in order to try to maintain that accuracy, many astronomers added more epicycles and made the model more complex, to no avail though. And the creator of the heliocentric model, Nicholas Copernicus, born 1473, died 1543, important year. He was credited with making the heliocentric model, which put the sun at the center of the universe instead of Earth. Wrote On the Revolution of Celestial Orbs, which published all the information of the heliocentric model while he was on his deathbed. And he also made an accurate scale for the solar system at the time. And the great debate, as it would have been debated back in Copernicus's time, Points for the geocentric model were that the movement on Earth would obviously be felt due to the size and speed of the needed rotation. Obviously, you should have quotations. But yeah, I mean, you can't feel the rotation of Earth. You can drop something and it will still fall in the same position. So some stars remain the same brightness and location, which just showed to them that the Earth doesn't move. Ptolemy's model was accurate for so long, so they had that going for them. The heliocentric model was never accurate in the first place. Points for the heliocentric model would have been that if the celestial sphere rotated, the aftermath would have been more catastrophic due to its mass compared to Earth's mass when rotating on its axis. The sun's apparent motion can be explained with Earth's rotation in orbit. The heliocentric model is just easier to explain. It's got nice symmetry and it's pretty. They brought the idea that stars are further than we think, and some planets are brighter in different times of the year due to orbit. And notice on Ptolemy's model, I did this with the like kind of more in his time. Don't want to be too critical. So he was predicting the location of planets at any given time and date, assuming that Earth is the center of the universe. Check. His predictions of the planets could be checked and observed. Check. Testable. Ptolemy's predictions of the planets were accurate for thousands of years. Call that thousands of years of testing. Like tentative. The later edition of epicycles showed the model's ability to change. Check. And uncertain. So his idea of Earth being the center of the universe was almost absolute due to religion, the religious groups at the time. And that's also the same reason why it would be an X in the social category, which would label his model as a proto-science. It doesn't meet all levels of the hallmarks of science. And although his predictions were accurate, he lacked actual evidence proving that the Earth was the center of the universe. It was all just one big assumption. Which, I mean, without like a good telescope or anything, it's kind of hard to do that. Which, knowing what we know now, his model is definitely a pseudoscience. For Copernicus's model, I was a little bit more critical of him due to the publication coming later in the timeline of humanity. Natural is essentially the same thing as Ptolemy's model, except sun is the center of the universe. The observable, there was no way to view a star's parallax or gather data that disproved Earth was the center of the universe. It wasn't testable. There was no way to like prove that the sun was the center of the universe. Tentative testing and observations were held back due to social norms. This is more of an X just due to the society of humanity around the time. It was very not about his model, so it wasn't due to the lack of a scientist's ability to be open. And Copernicus wasn't without fault. He held on to old science assumptions, which is enough to X him out in the uncertain category. And he passes for social because he did publish his data. I mean, although it being on his deathbed, the dude felt like he needed to avoid punishment or persecution. So in conclusion, his model is a proto-science. It had a lot of accurate theories, but there was no way to really prove them yet at the time. And so yeah, he really relied on Occam's razor, and that was about it. And his model would also be pseudoscience. The Earth is not the sun is not the center of the universe, as we know. So, and finally, the heliocentric model was just ruled supreme. It's simplicity and symmetry compared to the epicycle filth. Geocentric model was astounding. And really, once all the old assumptions of science were stripped away, the less the geocentric model made sense. And through that, the opinion of science changed, starting a revolution in how science was conducted. also called the Copernican revolution. All right, thanks for listening.